to make sure you attend to support this Ghanaian film. Yeah, thank you so much. So we're delving into our very first story, and in our very first story, the Academy Award winner of The Whale was interviewed on his promotion of the film that he's starring in currently called The Rental Family. And he did state something that is very crucial today. You know, with the advent of streaming, a lot of actors now have several options and advantages to star in films, whether those that are going to be shown on the screen and those that are going to be shown on the streaming services. Even those that are shown on screen, after they are run in the cinemas, it ends up back on the streaming platform. And what a lot of people have realized was that because of the several options that are available to audiences, they could easily flip the button to watch the next film. If the performances are not up to par or not engaging for audiences to be glued to that particular production. And this, I think, is very, very interesting and very, very important that he has raised, because in the earlier eras of some of these streaming services, there were a lot of flock of films that weren't that good, even though, yes, entertaining to a level. But then now that we have several of the major studios also having their own streaming services with other third-party, solo streaming services available, it has created a lot of, competition for actors and producers or filmmakers in general to make the best choices in terms of production to be able to retain audiences, not just for themselves as filmmakers, but for the streaming services, because without they having the necessary traction of audiences watching them, the likelihood for the streaming services not to sort of renew their Be It series, the project that he was promoting, having premiered at TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival. And honestly, what he says is very true now, because for those who were, just picking films because it has a good paycheck, now the tides have turned. If your performances are not that good, soon enough, even the streaming service will not greenlight your projects going forward. And even if you star in a film that would premiere or will have its run in the cinemas prior to ending up on the streaming platform, if it is not the best of choices, you can be rest assured that soon enough, you're going to lose audiences, trooping in to watch your films. And that is the challenge a lot of filmmakers and actors are having at the moment. And so it is really a challenge now. And for him, having, done, The Whale, it looks like his choices of films are very selective. I'm sure you remember him from George of the Jungle and a whole host of other films that he did in time past. And now with this new advent of streaming, there are so many opportunities available to audiences. They could either choose to go to the cinemas to watch, or while seated, comfortably in their homes, they have the options of several streaming platforms available to them. And not just that, but whilst watching even one streaming platform, there's a myriad of content on that platform, which they can just easily flip from one movie to the other without any thought. So I remember while starting this particular streaming, this podcast, an advice given to me was that your first 3 seconds is so important to hook your audience on. Well, this is just for podcasts or streaming. How much more for a film? So it means that if you are not putting in your best, the likelihood for you to lose audiences is very high. And I do agree with that, because the options available are too many in this era. And it's not like you paying to go to the cinemas to sit down and watch. At least for that 2-hour period or 3-hour period that you are sitting in the cinema, because you've paid top dollar money or CDs, you would be forced to watch, and you don't have the advantage of flipping, but you do have the option to choose to leave the cinema if it's not good enough. So currently, that is the challenge a lot of filmmakers are facing. So whether you are in front of the camera or behind the camera, you are now forced to put up your very best foot forward, or you rethink your project before it is finally shot. Because once it is shot and canned and shown in the cinema and it flops, it will affect your next film. And even if it doesn't affect your next film, you may not even get opportunity to do a project again for the studio, or let alone maybe the streaming service. So it is quite a challenge that they are faced with currently. And if you check carefully what he chose to act in today, that is The Rental Family, it is quite a comic, movie, but it has depth of heart to it. And that's the kind of choices he's made. If you ever watch The Whale is a very emotional, moving project that he did that won him the best actor for the Academy for that year. So it is indeed a very interesting story he chose, because the story is that of an actor who has to act as a surrogate, family member to families that are grieving, or families who have lost a member, and he has to pretend to be the person's dad, or whichever role he's asked to play. And if you watch the trailer, through the period of that small piece that we watched, he ended up being attached to some of the families, even some of the families getting so attached to him as if he's related to them. So it speaks of the kind of choices he's making today to ensure that whoever is watching his film on the streaming services will not flip the next button, which every actor, I can tell you for a fact now, is scared of, because you would want to retain as many audiences who are watching your film to help you in your next project going forward. So The Rental Family is indeed a very interesting movie shot in Japan. And I think if you watch the trailer, you can attest to how unique of a story that film is. And personally, I think it is necessary for them to be upping their game, because you can't in this era afford to just churn out any production at all. Whatever production you're churning out must be on par with good production value and quality story to hook people on, because aside the streaming services, there is also the possibilities of people leaving the streaming services to watch a skit on their phone, which literally are shorter and sometimes even more engaging than the films you watch, because with a film, you have highs and lows, and it may take time to build up to a twist or a plot point or some action set pieces. So I do agree that whatever they are putting out there now must be of top quality. Otherwise, viewers are likely to tune off very easily. So let me know. This is what is the reality on the ground now for actors and filmmakers. What do you think of what Brendan Fraser has said with regards to actors upping their game? Otherwise, the audiences are likely to click on the next button and move on from their production to another. Whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave it in the chat section below, and then